welcome back to yet another week of Behind the Lens. I'm Debbie Elias, film critic, creator, and host of Behind the Lens, where we go behind the lens and below the line with the movers and shakers, the film and TV makers, those producers, directors, writers, actors, cinematographers, production designers, costume designers, film editors, sound mixers, composers, authors. And just last week, we had baseball player turned country music star. So, you name it, and we talk to them. Now, if you're watching the show on the AdrenalineRadio.com Facebook page right now, you'll see I'm not in the studio. Well, that's because I've got to go to 3 film screenings in order to do interviews on Tuesday. So, nobody's figured out how to clone me yet. Probably a good thing. So, I am pre-recording the show. It is now late Sunday night. So, you've got some great pre-recorded interviews coming up. Starting with, I've been looking forward to this film all year, Expendables. Or some of you are calling it Expendables 4. Do not listen to a lot of the naysaying that is going on out there. Because clearly, some people have forgotten how to just go to the movies and have fun. Have a damn good time. This Expendables, under the direction of SCOTT WAUGH, it is rock'em, shock'em, blow 'em all to hell. Fun. It is a wild thrill ride. Each stunt, each set piece tops the last, and we're having fun watching it. The action, a lot of it is creative, it's inventive. There's some stunts here you haven't seen anywhere before, including an inverted motorcycle stunt that is being performed by Jason Statham's incredible motorcycle stuntman, Robbie Madison. From beginning to end, you will have fun. And the beauty is that while we're having fun and loving the action, the guys on the screen are having fun. And it's obvious to anybody that really watches the film. One of the great elements of this film that I appreciate is that action heroes over the age of 50 or 60 have not been put out to pasture as much as many people would like to do that. These guys are still vital, active, and they can throw a punch and a one-liner. But the boys are back and they're ready to save the world again. But as is usual in an Expendables film, we got a little bit of revenge to take care of as well. With Expendables 3, revenge came in the form of Mel Gibson as Conrad Stonebanks, and a little grudge Barney Ross had with him. Well, now we've got somebody who is out to start a war between Russia and the United States and has a nuke big enough to do a whole heck of a lot of damage that is on a ship somewhere in the South China Seas or Sea of Japan. So who do you call? Who does the government always call for a black ops operation? You call the Expendables. Returning is, of course, Sylvester Stallone as Barney Ross. Jason Statham as Lee Christmas. 50 Cent comes in this go-round as Easy Day. Dolph Lundgren is back as Gunner. We've got Randy Couture back as Toll Road. Now, a great favorite in Expendables 3 was Antonio Banderas' character. Due to scheduling, Banderas couldn't come back for Expendables 4. So a new character was created called Galen, who is the son of Banderas' character, Galgo, from in Expendables 3. Jacob Scipio easily handles the task at hand. And as you're going to hear in my interview with SCOTT WAUGH, they changed the dialogue. When Banderas couldn't come back, they actually changed the dialogue to make it appropriate for Jacob's character of Galen. It's still, the character has all the same traits as Galgo. So he really provides a lot of comic relief, as do our veterans. You know, Dolph Lundgren, talking about his eyesight, now he's got to wear glasses, and he gets a special scope for his rifles that has prescription lens in it. I think is hilarious, as someone whose eyesight has been changing at age 65. Statham is Statham. Stallone is Stallone. Randy Couture is funny as ever. And then this go round, we get Megan Fox brought in as an expendable and is an ex of Jason Statham's Lee Christmas. Not a big Megan Fox fan. I'll say that up front. I've said it before. But she holds her own. She brings a little flavor to Expendables 4. But where the real flavor comes in is with Tony Jaa, Iko Uwais, Levi Tran. This trio give us so many thrills, martial arts thrills. The choreography is impressive. Their performances are wonderful. And of course, then we got to have a government guy in here. It used to be Bruce Willis, but in Expendables 3, as we all know, Major Drummer came in looking like Harrison Ford because Church was out of the picture. Now we've got Andy Garcia as Marsh. And it's an interesting turn for Andy, let me tell you. But the plot points, the film opens explosively. Third act is even bigger explosions. The stunts within it are incredible. Absolutely incredible. And we never lose the sense of camaraderie that the Expendables are known for. You know, when I talked to Scotty Waugh, and as many of you know, I have known Scotty and his brother Rick for about 40 years now. I first met them when they were gangly teenagers, very early in their career, learning stunts and working with their dad, the legendary Fred Waugh. To have seen what Scotty and Rick have done, moving into stunt coordination and directing and writing, is just, it's been an absolute privilege when they turn out work like what the two of them have consistently turned out. One of the things that I love and that I think makes Scott the perfect director for Expendables 4 are the disciplines and skills that he has exhibited in some prior films, particularly Act of Valor, and his last film that had released, Need for Speed. The elements that he brings to the table and his vision with those two films alone, really, I see them incorporated and play out here with Scotty's vision for the film. As you're going to hear in this interview, Scott was brought in only 4 weeks before principal photography was set to start. There was another director attached. He went bye-bye. Scott came in. There were no set pieces built, no production design done. This was run and gun from the start. But coming out of stunts, you got to run and gun and be able to prepare while you're running and gunning. And that's exactly what Scott has done with this film. One of the highlights and one of probably the closest thing to Scotty Waugh's right arm with this film is his second unit action director, Brian Smurs. Scotty brought him in very quickly. He is an incredible action director, and he and Scott together, their work is just exemplary. This is a stunt-heavy film. Stunts in action. A lot of man-on-man. And once again, as we have seen in all of the Expendables films leading up to this one, the action is tailored to each actor's capabilities. And that's very important because it allows so much to be done in camera with the actors versus having digi-doubles or even a lot of VFX enhancement. At every level, the film is very well executed. It is technically proficient. I love the cinematography. Tim Maurice Jones came in. You may know his work best for Kick-Ass 2. He also did The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. Talk about opposite ends of the spectrum for his skill set. Everything about Expendables 4 just screams excitement and fun. And as you're going to hear Scott talk about, it was very important to him to pay homage to the 3 Expendables that came before. And most notably with Rusty's Bar, the Expendables Hangout. Keep your eyes peeled when you watch the film and your ears open as you listen to Scotty talk, because he gives a few little tidbits as to the Easter eggs that he has in there. And something that he and Tim worked on from a cinematographic standpoint is having some very cinematic looks within the film. And a lot of that is achieved in the Rusty's Bar sequences. Overall, the film truly is worth the full price of admission. I have already gone and paid money to see it after seeing it at a press screening. I will pay money to see it again because it's fun. Have any of you forgotten what it's like to go to a film and just have fun? To laugh, to grin, to be on the edge of your seat as explosions are happening, and you see somebody doing an inverted motorcycle stunt on an aircraft carrier. Trust me. Forget the naysayers. Form your own opinion. Go see Expendables 4. But before you do that, you can take a listen to this very fun-filled interview with Scott Waugh and myself. And you're also going to find out what happened to a film that he was shooting after Need for Speed and before Expendables. COVID did a number on it. Let's just say that. And you're going to hear all about it in this interview. So without any further ado, take a listen to my exclusive interview with my friend and director, Scott Waugh. Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to hear your voice.
It's been way too long, mister.
I know, hasn't it?
Since Need for Speed.
Yeah, I know. That was almost 10 years ago now.
I know. And I've seen and talked with Rick so many times in between. So he filled me in. It's like, okay, Scotty's overseas. You were shooting 6 Below. Okay, do you know Scotty picked up and moved and built his own studio and went to XYZ back east? And so Rick has kept me filled in on your exploits.
That's awesome. Yeah, everyone thought that, some people thought I left the industry. And it's funny just because, I was on that movie Hidden Strike. It was turned into a 6.5-year project.
Oh, God.
And it just, everyone thought I, quit. But I was, making that movie and COVID hit. And I was 3 years in when I was finally finishing it. And it completely annihilated that movie and bankrupted the company that was financing it. And the movie went on the shelf for 2 years. So here I was during COVID with a movie that I couldn't show people because it wasn't finished.
Oh, my God. I was so excited this year when Rick and I talked earlier about Kandahar. And I told him, I said, I don't know, this is like the greatest year of my life to have the Waugh brothers each have an action film out. That hasn't happened before, and I just think it's spectacular. I know what Rick did and everything he did in Kandahar with the explosions and the practical explosions, the one that was actually felt 5 miles away from where they actually did it. But I have to tell you now, having seen Expendables 4, You blew your brother's explosions out of the water, Scotty.
A lot of them. They have a lot of fuel.
Oh my God. What I saw on screen last night surpasses his Napalm Alley in Angel Has Fallen. It surpasses the explosions in Kandahar. I put on socials this morning, this is rock 'em, sock 'em, blow 'em all to hell. This is killer, Scotty. I am so thrilled with this film and so proud to have been there when you started your career and to see what you've done now.
Oh, how crazy is that? And thank you. Yeah, I think, the beauty of that, when my brother was doing Kandahar, I was over doing Expendables. I'm trying to remember, one of us was finishing and one of us was starting to go. And I think Ricky was finishing. He was leaving Saudi when I was going to Bulgaria and London. And, and I had just finished my China movie, so he was talking to me about shooting in Saudi, and I was talking to him about my experiences trying to, shoot for 10 months in China, and they seem to be very similar stories.
Well, I have to say, with Expendables 4 here, for you. You were the perfect director for this film to bring this story to life, because it really, to me, feels like a meld of the reality of the action that you had in Act of Valor, plus the excitement of Need for Speed, and the joy of the wit and the humor and the brotherhood and the friendship and explosive nature of the Expendables. You marry your excellence with the franchise itself, and this is just incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I really felt like it was kind of that natural progression you get as a filmmaker when the studios kind of keep giving you a little bit more, right? Because they know you're maybe there and ready to handle that. And so when I had that opportunity, when they called me to do Expendables, I was, of course, thrilled, because I was like, wow, man, that'd be an amazing opportunity to work with that brand and work with all those actors. But also I felt I was ready for it, because I had done enough body of work to handle $100 million huge, larger-than-life actor, movie, so...
How did you when you got this script, first they hire you and you're blown away, and after you get over that euphoria, if you ever do, how did you start approaching this film? Because there are the hallmarks that everybody looks for in an Expendables film. But given your own background with stunt coordination and directing, you needed to put your own stamp on this as well. So how did you approach this and start in executing the vision for Expendables 4?
The thing that was challenging for myself on Expendables was I was a latecomer to the party. So they had a previous director that decided to walk when they were 4 weeks out from shooting. And they called me immediately and said, would you come over and take over the franchise? We start shooting in 4 weeks. So I was on a plane to London the next day, and really having to mount an entire film of this size in 4 weeks was super challenging. They had not done the preliminary work needed. And, and I thought the same thing when I was in that, was like, on top of this, we got to design some set pieces in action that are going to be memorable. And that's when I brought in Brian Smurs, and I called Brian. I said, brother, can you come over and help me, man? Because I'm up to my knees in deep stuff right now, and I need a partner to come work this out with me. So Brian and I really collaborated and got some good stuff going on second unit that really helped me.
The second unit is exemplary in this film, Scott, and I knew it would be. Your set pieces are phenomenal, and I love how you bookend the film with the huge, the opening set piece at the, set in Libya, and then the aircraft carrier scenes in the third act. It's perfect. You start on an explosive high note, and you just keep getting bigger, which I didn't think was...
That's the challenge, right? How do you... We always run into these issues, and I ran into this issue on Act of Valor of, usually your end of Act 1 action set piece, is really exciting, and sometimes you outdo yourself for the end of Act 3, and for us, it was like we have to keep one-upping ourselves so that at the end, it's really the big one, So, and I do think we finally accomplished that on this one. That was a really big focus of mine, making sure that final set piece left you feeling rewarded and you earned it.
I was exhilarated with the third act, the final set piece. I was already grinning from ear to ear the minute the film opened with the action and that opening set piece. But by the end of the film with the last one, I was ready. I was jumping out of my skin. It was that good.
That's great.
The stunt execution here, and with you, I have to talk about the action and the stunts because you, like Rick, in camera as much as you can do. How much of this is in camera? Because in a lot of these action sequences, some of the martial arts sequences, and boy, oh boy, the martial arts sequences are incredible here. You've got amazing talent. But I'm looking, and that was in camera. It was not CGI. It wasn't digi-double. That was in camera. So I'm curious, how much of the action here, especially the one-on-one fights, were you doing in camera?
Well, I think that's always the hyper focus of mine of how much can I do in camera, all of it, and if I need to augment for safety reasons, VFX wise, then I am always comfortable having to go that route because safety is paramount. Mm-hmm. But I don't think VFX should just replace. So I'm doing everything I possibly can in camera, and I think it registers, and I think that's why the action in Expendables just feels throwback in a way to our original movies we grew up on because it's still all real, and there are some VFX enhancement moments for sure, but they're still the foreground elements are all real.
Mm-hmm. I kept watching diligently, looking to see, and I kept saying, "This is all in camera. This is in camera. These one-on-one fights are in camera," and it just blew my mind, Scotty. Blew my mind.
Awesome.
You've got some really interesting new stunts that I haven't seen before, such as the Statham, Lee Christmas's the motorcycle stunt up in the air, the flip, and on an aircraft carrier. I haven't seen this before. How much engineering went into that? Now, obviously, Statham was not on the bike. As much of a daredevil as he is for doing a lot of stuff, I am positive he was not on the bike, and you had a stunt double for him doing that. What was the impetus and the idea for a stunt like that?
Well, I think, you're always looking for those trailer moments and for audiences to have that reaction of, wow, I've never seen that before. I want to go see that movie. And that was one of the things when I was reading the script. I'm like, we got to do something badass on this aircraft carrier that, people haven't seen. And there was this little, ride the motorcycle around in the script. And I'm like, no, man, this needs to turn into a full-scale motorcycle chase. We need to mount guns on these bikes. They need to be shooting at each other. And it's got to be exciting. And then I was like, but there's got to be a way we kill the bad guy that is that quintessential trailer moment that just is cool. And as I looked at the set and thinking about it, I kept thinking like, dude, instead of them just shooting, I go, we got to do a jump. We need to jump and get completely inverted. And we need somebody like Robbie Madison to come and do this jump for us and do something special so it's all in camera and real. And it's just something that the audience is going to smile. And, we were lucky. We got Robbie to come in and do the jump for us. And it was He did it 5 times.
Wow.
And he wasn't inverted enough the way I had it in my head. And I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Robbie, can you do me a favor? You think you could flick it out a little bit more, brother, to try to get those guns pointed down so you're literally inverted?" And he kind of smiled and looked at me and goes, "All right, let's do one more." And that's the one that's in the movie. He almost crashed because he got so inverted. He had to try to bring it back and under-rotated. And that, after he landed, we're like, "Yeah, that's it. Moving on."
Oh, my God. Now, because you came in just 4 weeks before Principal was starting here, were any of these sets built for you? Because the aircraft carrier, that's a massive set with large compartments, hallways, the bridge, whatnot, and the deck. The Gaddafi, the Libya set piece, that's another big thing. Was any of this already done from a production design standpoint, or did you have to start from scratch with that within less than 4 weeks to go?
Unfortunately, none of it was done, and we had to start from zero when I came in. They had a couple location ideas that they already had come up with, but within the first week that I jumped in, it was flying all over the world, picking locations, casting while we're flying, and designing while we're on the move to get sets started. So it was something I personally don't care to do again. It was extremely challenging, and I'm happy with what we were able to pull off. But it's there's a reason we prep for 12 weeks normally.
Wow, I can't imagine you doing a film without 12 weeks prep, just because of what you do in the films you direct. So this is just Herculean, Scotty. This is a Herculean effort, and let me tell you, it pays off. Now, working with, so you've got Brian as your second unit action director. You've got Tim Maurice Jones as your primary cinematographer. I know that Tim shot Kick-Ass too, but I haven't seen any of his work that's really as involved as Expendables 4 is. What was your collaboration like with him from a cinematography standpoint of the lighting and the lensing? Because so much is interior with that weird lighting within a ship and then cover of darkness, things like that, or the glaring sun of the desert.
The idea, so Tim and I never worked before. He was already hired on before I came on, but I knew Tim from my commercial directing career because I always had tried to get Tim to DP some of my commercials, but he was never available. So when I heard he was on, it was exciting. So I'm like, "Oh, we're finally getting to work together. This is awesome." But I think our styles, we ended up, really pushing each other, because I think I like to move the camera more than Tim's used to, but Tim's really terrific with lighting, and I felt like the combination really gave us some good feel on this particular movie. And I think it is got to be careful because we are within a brand and we don't want to change it, so we needed to stay on point with the last 3, but maybe make it look even a little bit more cinematic, and I think Tim did a wonderful job.
I have to say, the bar, where the Expendables hang out, Rusty's bar, that is so cinematic with the way it's lit and the color usage and the neon and the diffusion in there. That is so cinematic and beautiful. And then to have the other contrast, it really opens up the world, I think.
Well, that was a throwback to when Sly did the first one. He used a lot of neon. And so when I first came in and I was talking with Tim, I said, we need to get back to Expendables 1. We need to really go back to the core of the franchise. And we looked at a lot of that, and even Barney's lair where his motorcycle is, if you look at that, where he gets on his Harley, that is a total throwback to Mickey Rourke's tattoo bar.
Yes, it is.
All the neon lights were and all that. And so we really carried through the whole idea of neon through the whole movie.
how exciting is it for you, and maybe even daunting, to come into a franchise like Expendables with the likes of Stallone, Statham, Lundgren, three of the greatest action heroes of all time, Randy Couture, and then new to the franchise, you know, you got 50 Cent, who I think is an incredible dramatic actor and does action well in addition, and Megan Fox, Tony Jaa, Iko, and then Jacob Scipio. Just amazing. And of course you get Andy Garcia. Was that daunting to you at all to have these action legends that you're directing?
Well, I think what was exciting was, you know, back in my previous career, I used to stunt double for Andy Garcia.
I know you did.
And he forgot. So when Andy was on set, and I had to remind him when I first saw him of certain films we worked together on, it was a kind of cool reuniting of both of us. And it actually gave us even a more special bond on set, which was really exciting, and Andy was terrific. But you're right, to jump in with all of these other wonderful actors who are physically talented, it's always exciting for a director because you can do a little bit more with them than you can any traditional actor, because you got to lean a little bit harder with the stunt doubles when you're not having people like we do in that and Expendables. So it was a treat because they're such physical specimens and wonderful. And then what a great attitude they all have. We really do.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't edit this film. I know you've edited, you know, Act of Valor. You were editing on that, Need for Speed. I know you love editing your stuff, but here, Michael Duthie, who I love the dedication to him, such a legend. He cut the film. Was this a challenging edit because of the rapid fire action that we have happening, while still maintaining the core camaraderie and humor and sarcasm of the boys?
Look, I think on this film, Debbie, there was three of us, myself and another one that wants to remain anonymous, that edited on the film with Michael, but we wanted to be respectful of him and his input and give him full credit. So Michael, you know, deserves it. He was an awesome man, and you know, deserves the dedicated and sole credit. So yeah, he did a wonderful job maintaining the tone and keeping that balance.
Just outstanding job. I know they're messaging me that we have to wrap this up, Scotty, but quickly, before I let you go, I gotta ask, in your opinion, which Waugh brother had the better action film this year? You or Rick?
Hey, we'll find out at the box office in about 4 days.
Oh, that's cagey response, Scotty.
Oh, yeah, you know, Ricky and I don't compete.
I know.
I know Rick's a terrific filmmaker, and, you know, I know, he lends into the more dramatic action, and somehow I've lensed into the more comedic action. It's kind of great because we both have our own style.
But just remember, you got to direct Stallone before he will with his Cliffhanger.
Yeah, true, right?
So you can always hold that over his head if you need to. Oh, Scotty, this has been so wonderful. I love you. I miss you. I hope I get to see you in person soon.
I know, Debbie. It's awesome talking to you.
Chat soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
And that was director Scott Waugh talking about the latest installment, Expendables 4. Seriously, see the film. You will not be disappointed, people. You really won't be. But did you catch him talking about Robbie Madison? And he did this inverted motorcycle jump 5 times. And to say, well, I think I can do it better. I'll do it again. Wow. It's amazing. I can't stress enough the safety factors, the expertise, and the precision that goes into planning and choreographing every punch that's thrown, every stunt, such as the inverted motorcycle jump, such as explosions, planting explosions and whatnot. Explosions are a big hallmark of Scott and Rick Waugh both. Anybody that saw Kandahar, anybody that saw Angel Has Fallen that Rick Waugh directed, explosions galore. But it's all about safety and effect. And if you can do something safely, do it in camera, and you get a thrilling result, you can't ask for more than that. I do love the film. It is truly rock 'em, shock 'em, blow 'em out of hell thrill ride. It is wild, and it's fun. And now we're going to have some more fun, because I was very excited when I got to race home from the live show last Monday so I could grab a few minutes with the one and only Robert Rodriguez to talk about his new film, Spy Kids Armageddon. Now, much like Expendables, it's been over a decade since Expendables 3. Well, it's been since 2011 since Spy Kids 4, and now we have a new Spy Kids Armageddon. And it's fun from beginning to end. It is also action-packed, but on a family-friendly level of action and excitement. It is once again directed by Robert, and it's written not only by Robert, but his son, Racer Max. We now have a new family. Instead of the Torres family that we had come to know and love for the first 3 Spy Kids, we now have the Tango Torres family. And we have Tony Tango Torres, played by Connor Esterson. And I got to tell you, watch him. Watch and see where he goes in the future. He's got some real acting chops. Everly Carganilla, who plays his sister Patty Tango Torres. Then we have our parents, played by Gina Rodriguez as Nora and Zachary Levi as Terrence. And then, as our antagonist, Billy Magnuson as the King. And this is a Spy Kids for this generation because it's so all around gaming. Now, granted, Robert did address video games in Spy Kids 3 Game Over. But now, this is beyond virtual reality with what's being done here. And what's really interesting, and you'll hear Robert talk about this, is that his kids, including Racer, they created a working game of the video game around that Spy Kids Armageddon is centered around. It's called High Score. And it actually is a real video game. People are going to be able to buy it. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in the Rodriguez family. They are all creative as can be. With Racer and then, of course, Rebel, who wrote the music for We Can Be Heroes, and I'm still waiting for my sequel to that one. But Rebel also, along with John Debney, wrote all the music for Spy Kids Armageddon. But once again, the kids have to save the world and their parents. And Netflix, their log line is, when the children of the world's greatest secret agents unwittingly help a powerful game developer unleash a computer virus that gives them control of all technology, they must become spies themselves to save their parents and the world. Well, you know it's going to be fun. You know they're going to be gadgets. I love the costumes, the superhero costumes. And it was Robert's kids who helped design these. And their friends. He never ceases to amaze me. He really doesn't. And he is the nicest guy in the world. Having had the opportunity to speak with him multiple times over the years. As much as I love his Sin City films and even Machete or Grindhouse, the joy and the fun that I get watching the Spy Kids films or We Can Be Heroes is just fabulous. You just don't get family films like this. They're few and far between. And I'm so happy that Robert not only makes films for families, but makes them with his own family. And he's always been very cognizant of that with this franchise. And once again, this is now streaming right now on Netflix. Family can sit down and watch it. But before you do, take a listen to my exclusive interview right now with Robert Rodriguez, director and co-writer of Spy Kids Armageddon. Hi, Robert.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Doing good.
It's so good to chat with you again. Last time we talked was for We Can Be Heroes.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for my sequel, but Spy Kids Armageddon.
Hoping we can do it soon. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, my God. But Spy Kids Armageddon is a nice filler. I love this film. I had so much fun watching this film the other day. Just, it made me feel like I did when I saw the original Spy Kids.
Oh, that's so great. I appreciate that so much.
And what I love here is you've done the tie-in with video games and Spy Kids before. You did that with number 3, with Game Over. Here, you really take us into the virtual world with this whole idea of in your mind. And you're in the game, and the game is you, and it's all one. This is really forward thinking. And I love how you have actually visualized us for it while having a really cohesive story. Obviously, a lot of that is due to Racer and his input.
Yeah, and he really came up with a really cool idea, which was that, one, as a fan of the third film, he loved, and his friends growing up loved a lot the video game element, because they all love games. But he said also it would just be really more believable if the bad guy was really versed in games and game theory, because then the kids actually edge against the adults, because kids know that stuff so well. Mm-hmm. You could picture a world where they would have the upper hand. So it really changed the whole dynamic. And having them sneak in to break in to play a game they weren't allowed to makes this, for the first time, an adventure that's all their fault. They started Armageddon, so now they have to become responsible and go fix what they messed up. And they actually have the tools to do it because they're so tech savvy and their parents are all thumbs for that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to tie that together along with the themes of honesty and dishonesty and spying in general. So yeah, it was kind of cool to just collaborate with my kids on what resonated with them about the series originally and how to live up to that and take it to new levels.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up the themes, because I love the whole idea of honesty and kindness. And, the siblings either being rivals or working together. And that's something you've always done really well. And the whole family dynamic. There is not a film, anything in the Spy Kids franchise or in hopefully the We Can Be Heroes franchise that a family cannot sit down and watch together. And that's so rare. Right. But what you do here is you make this so exciting visually for kids, and also the idea that kids can do anything. And, parents, you really give a backhanded slap to the parents locking up electronic games. Like a kid isn't going to be able to figure out how to access those. And I thought that was fabulous that you threw that in. Every parent is going to connect with that. You didn't give the parents any hints on how to lock the kids out of tech. That's for sure. as you and Racer, this is another one of your lean, mean productions. You know, you're a writer, director, Racer is a co-writer, you're cinematographer, and you're editing this. And I notice, especially once we're in the game and the simplicity of the costumes, of our hero costumes, that really almost harkens back to older video games. I'm curious about the visual design in terms of the costuming, and then the quote-unquote, the virtual elements of the game that they're trying to navigate to prevent Armageddon.
Yeah, that was really fun. You know, my kids were designing a whole video game to release independently, like an actual game, because they're such big gamers and they program. And it had all those elements. They'd come up with characters. It was a fantasy game, so the costumes, they knew what costumes should look like because they'd already been designing it for a game, an actual game.
Wow.
When we were making this movie, we needed a game, so we took their game high score and said, let's put this game in the movie because it's already so robust and built up. So we kind of already knew what the costumes should look like, that one guy's going to be more of a thief-type character. That would be Tony's character. So he's got the patch, he's got the saber sword. You know, the dad would have the big power hammer hand, and the girl would level up to be, this Aztec princess with all this armor, gold. You know, they had very specific ideas, my kids, about the costumes. So it was really fun to fulfill their wish fulfillment of seeing their game come to life. But then we had a very robust game that now they're making the game that'll come out day and date with a movie.
Oh, wow.
My Roblox game is going to be out and playable this weekend. So it was just why I like making these movies. It's the only film series in existence that's made by a family for other families. And that's why you rope them all in, because they bring you ideas that you're going to like, because you all share the same references, the same likes over the years being together. But also they are just so capable and have been working on these since they could crawl. They know the movies inside as well as I do, but from a different perspective, because they were also the target audience for a lot of that time.
Now you've
So
got...
I remember what it was like to talk to their friends about it, what their friends liked about it too. So then they make sure we put that in these movies.
Careful, they're all going to want percentages, for all the future films because of their input.
Oh, they absolutely get that. They've been a part of it from the...
I have to ask you, Robert, about the music. Once again, you've got Rebel doing music. You've got John Debney. But here again, piggybacking on the whole family theme. Did you just throw this into Rebel and John's hands? Or did you have some input into what you wanted musically and sonically?
Yeah, so the original Spy Kids movies, I wrote the scores for. And John worked on the first one and the second one with me. So that was always kind of the sound of it, was my original score and then some of John's really big pieces. So we wanted it to feel very authentic to that, but Rebel just writes circles around me. He did the score for We Could Be Heroes, and I just could not touch that score. He was just so good. So I brought him back for this, but then he really wanted me to still write some music and to bring John on for some numbers, so that just to really capture that authentic Spy Kids sound, because it's just so iconic, he would say. So he wrote the majority of the music. I loved everything he wrote. He would take my Spy Kids theme and turn it around into something, created the parents' theme. He created all the themes. The king's theme, the parents' theme, the kids' theme, and he used my original theme in a new reworked way. Whenever you hear my original theme from the original movies, those are the pieces I wrote. Very few, only like 10 minutes of music. John did another like 30%, and the rest was Rebel.
Wow.
So their music is just fantastic, and then we got to, for the first time, recorded like in London with a London orchestra at the James Bond stages. So it was a dream for me to hear that music, done that way.
Oh my God, Robert, that is a dream. Well, my friend, once again, job so well done. I will be watching this film several more times, I assure you. Because I just had so much fun watching it. And I know I will every time, and I know you have Easter eggs in there. We have little nods. I saw a lot of them, but I'm going to look for more.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Robert, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks.
bye-bye. And that is all the time we have today on Behind the Lens. You've got 2 fun films, fun action films that you can see. You can watch Spy Kids Armageddon from the comfort of your own home, have a popcorn night with the family, and just enjoy the film. And then the adults, it's R-rated, back to an R rating for Expendables 4. So go to the theater, see that. They are 2 films. You will not regret seeing either one of them. It's all about action. It's all about fun. And both are well done films. I can't ask for any more than that, and neither can you. So, next week we've got a full house, jam-packed, 2 guests who are going to be joining us live. And we'll get into that next week. So, until then, I'm Debbie Elias. This is Behind the Lens.